Hello and welcome back to Amusements of Rapture. Today I want to share some tips with you for intermediate players, upper intermediate, definitely master and above players in the game of GeoGuessr. I've got, I think, a lot of things from rounds where I guessed wrongly. And these are just my mistakes. Learn from my mistakes. And I think it's a great way to improve on the game. If you look back through your games and see what went wrong, you know? So, yeah. All of this is just to give you maybe a little more of a comprehensive understanding of stuff. If you're not at my ELO yet, or if you have more ELO than me, I am sitting at about 1,250 on average. I've been at 1,350. But yeah. So let's get started. First one here. Cacti exists in Africa. Who would have thought? I think your first thought usually, if you see cacti, is to think of Mexico. It's the country with the most cacti, in the game. And there aren't many African countries in the game, but I've definitely seen cacti in South Africa. So yeah, don't just think Mexico immediately every time, That's what I did, and it cost me. Next one. Don't consider New Zealand when you see gum trees. I had a round recently where I couldn't pinpoint what kind of poles I was looking at, electricity poles. I only really had the trees to go off, and for some reason I kept thinking gum trees or eucalyptus trees like these are found in New Zealand. Don't think they are, at least definitely not to the extent that they're found in Australia. So if you have that 50-50, look at the trees, remember the trees. Okay, another Australian meta. I thought this was West Australia because in the Plonket guide it talks about thinner black and white reflectors like these that you can find. But these are bigger, these are wider, so it's not the same thing. Save yourself going Western Australia. It's quite the commit to do it. If they look too big, then maybe it's not the usual reflector that are usually stuck in the ground, not on the edge of these things. What are they called? What are they called? Rail bars? Guardrails. That's what they're called. Name escaped me there. All right, next one. I'm not a language person. Definitely not. That's my weakness in this game. But here we have it. In Belgium, there are different areas that speak different languages. Commonly, we have a Dutch area, French area, and a German area. So if you're looking at signs, that's something to remember. All right, next one. This was quite a recent one for me. I saw this antenna in Bosnia. I think you get it in either South Africa or Brazil as well. I think it's South Africa. Yeah, and this is 2025 coverage, so know your antennas. Car meta is a part of the game. It does help. Next one, I usually go South America when I see these kind of rickety fences. But this time it was Botswana. So you can get these kind of rickety fences elsewhere. I think, though, it's just such a good meta for South America. They seem to be everywhere. All right. Don't always assume it's the Himalayas or max north if you're way up in the mountains with a boxcar. If you look at the boxcar coverage, it kind of goes in a C shape, starting from like the middle of Nepal, I guess, all the way down to Maharashtra, etc. And these were mountains found, yeah, as I put, near Mumbai, I think. So it's not always going to be max north. India's definitely a country I need to practice. It's huge. There's a lot to learn. Okay. Don't know if it's a tip, but I saw these Brazilian poles with a support and without a support. So in this situation, I just had to make a guess based off the landscape, really. I don't know how common this is, but yeah, it's definitely more common to have no supports in the northeast of the country. Again, check the Plunkett guide for Brazil and any of these tips. Next one, a Bulgarian pole. I wrote that the insulators look like the insulators you get on tie poles. Yeah, a fairly distinct looking pole with these 3 insulators, 2 on one side, 1 on the other. Good to know. Speaking of poles, here's one I saw in Cambodia recently, hence the coverage quality. It's also found in Vietnam, I believe, or at least a very similar looking one. Yeah. Don't know how to describe it. It's got these kind of indents to it and dots. Yeah. Next one. Chile. As you can see here, the roads are ordered by letter. A, north. Y, max south. Goes in chronological order. And it's useful to know. I'm more of a no-move player, so maybe it's not always going to come up. But yeah, a pretty logical road system in Chile. Thank you very much, because yeah, as you probably know, if you're watching some road systems in GeoGuessr really suck to try and work out, like Spain, for example. Can't work it out. Okay, Colombia has these mile markers. Yeah, this was around where there wasn't much else to go off besides the fact that it was mountainous. This is a Colombian mile marker. Yeah. A stone, white stone with these black bars and a number and another number, I believe, underneath. Okay, Cyprus is pretty new to the game, 2025, I assume. And yeah, here you can see cacti. But the thing that stands out here for me, besides the antenna, again, is these bollards. They look a bit different. They look like Belgium or Danish bollards. And this, of course, is only one side of the bollard, and the other side, they'll be a different color. Red, I assume. But yeah, it's good to know Cyprus. Any metas for Cyprus, you can just win the game on it. Of course, if someone goes Greece. And here, Cyprus, from what I've seen, has red and white reflectors on the guardrails. Useful, again. I find guardrails useful, yeah. Italy has red reflectors on the guardrails. Spain has yellow. And then South America has yellow because of Spanish colonization. And yeah. Next one here. Check your arrows. They are part of the sign. So as you can see here, the white and black arrows are like its own little section of the sign. That's a good way to distinguish it from Slovakia. Slovakia has small white arrows, but they're like part of the sign. So it could say Centrum and then the arrow is just there. You know, it's not its own separate bit. Next one. I failed to line up a bridge recently because I thought double white lines was only a Greek thing, only a Polish thing, but Denmark has double white lines too. So yeah, there it says on the note, yeah, Polish and Greek as well. Oh right, this is a little map that I made to help myself. Hopefully it helps you. It's called EU countries with black backs to their signs. As in, if you look at the back of signs, you'll see that it's black. So this is Germany, Italy, Albania, Romania. It kind of rhymes that, so it's good to remember. It's only 4 countries. So yeah. And another map I've made. Just 4 countries again. And from my findings at least, they're the most common EU countries with short, dashed, white outer road lines. Most common in Sweden, Estonia, but also found in Romania and France. All right, here, someone sent me this. It's a Europe Generation 4 copyright spreadsheet. And yeah, copyright isn't the most interesting meta to learn and remember, but like car meta, definitely helps to know. For example, Germany here, 2023, Germany. Okay, it's good to remember. Yeah. Don't know if you can see this very well. I could send it to you if you want. It's good to study, but is it the most useful? I don't know. Definitely not if you're just intermediate. You don't want to get stuck on the year when you've got, an entire round to look at. All right, next one. This was just Finland. I thought of this more as a Baltic round with the road, but it was Finland. Yeah. Interesting one. I think this is me blundering on India again. Yeah. I've just got to stop going max north when I see huge mountains like this. They exist elsewhere. These were in Andhra Pradesh. Okay, here are some more Indian metas. So these are hard for me to recognize, but in the community they're called Assam palms or Areca palms. And they look like this. Found in Assam, of course, but other places too. Yeah. Feel like noticing and recognizing plants is becoming more and more part of my game as I make better, hopefully, region guesses. Next one, India. Can have poles that look like Brazil, like these or indented poles. Yeah. Looks a bit Brazilian, that. Don't be fooled. It's India. Same for Nigeria. Nigeria can have what looks like Brazilian looking poles. Nuh-uh. Still Nigeria. All right, here. I've messed these up a few times, but these are Indo-bollards. Indonesian, not Malaysian. It says UK-style bollards are mostly found in Kalimantan. I believe that's this second one, maybe? Yeah. All right, moving on. This is a meta I've struggled with, and I feel like I've tunnel visioned on a few times. It's where the poles in Indonesia are what I think to be North Sumatran, but I click North Sumatra and it's not right. So yeah, watch out for that. I learnt this from Plunkett. I feel like I used to get it right, but these days I feel like I click North Sumatra too much and it's either on Sumatra, like just more south, or elsewhere even Indonesia is a difficult country in the game. Yeah. So if you see these kind of poles where, what do you call it? They're asymmetrical, don't just assume North Sumatra. Okay. This is just a self-reminder too, really. This is Kenya driving left, of course, with red soil. Red soil commonly associated with Brazil, maybe Thailand, maybe Indonesia, maybe Sri Lanka. But yeah, driving direction, super important. It's so basic, but I forget it all the time. And of course, you've got to know which side of the car you're looking at. For example, here, of course, you're looking at the front of the car, not the back. Yeah. Okay, next one. Kyrgyzstan, with its winter coverage, can have similar looking poles to Ukraine or Russia. Just like this. I think I assumed this was Russia based off the poles. It's not. And Lesotho, commonly messed up with Peru. I must have gone Peru on this round, but Lesotho doesn't always have tabletop mountains. And what I mean by tabletop is that they are like smoothed off in a kind of square way or rectangle way. These are more bumpy, and it was still Lesotho. So, yeah. Just tunnel visioning there again, I think. Oh, right. Here. This was hard to see from the distance where my location was, but you have white stickers or paint above the black stickers in Malaysia. I think you do still, well, now you find black stickers on Borneo Island. So, not mainland Malaysia. Too, which is confusing, but they're more rare, at least for now. Yeah. You got to keep up with the times with GeoGuessr. And the coverage is always updating. I feel like almost everywhere has 2025, 2026 coverage now. Not everywhere, but you know, way more than before. Again, this is just me thinking about different plants that are native to different places. I don't usually associate banana palms, if that's what these are, with Mexico, but they were in Mexico. Yeah, I usually associate them with Asia, Indonesia, for example. Maybe Philippines. Oh, right. Yeah. It's interesting that this looks like a Chile pole, but it's Nigeria. And then this is a holy pole. And of course it's Nigeria. This, does that look a little like the Bulgarian pole I had before? I've just got to stop remembering that they are not always country by country, you know, like different places have different poles and they can look similar, they can share similarities with other poles. But yeah, don't get thrown off if you see a similar looking pole in another country. All right, next one. North Macedonia can have no antenna as well, at least according to this coverage. I didn't see an antenna. Serbia is the country in Europe with no antenna. That's a good way to get Serbia. If you don't see an antenna, go Serbia. Sometimes it does have an antenna, I think, but mostly not. Yeah. Okay, I went New Zealand. No, I went Chile on this, but it was actually New Zealand. It's a typical 50-50. Sometimes I go back and look at rounds and still think, how is that the country? This just looks like Chile to me. But I think the thing to distinguish between them in Chile and New Zealand is not the car, because I feel like you can get a similar car South American car. But the fences should look different. The mountains, you just get huge peaks in both countries. So yeah, tough 50-50, and I just lost on that. All right, next one. I saw these kind of pines. Please give me the real name, the species name, if you know. In Ontario, Canada, and this was the Canadian Trans Highway or Trans-Canadian Highway. Yeah. Got a distinct kind of road as well, but I'm sure it's found in lots of places. Some of these are just locations for me to remember, you know, because they stick out a bit. All right, next one. Panama has short plates, and they're not required. I didn't know they were not required, just like in Puerto Rico. That's something for me to remember. I thought it was just Puerto Rico in that kind of Central American area. But yeah, it's not. Panama too. All right, next one. Something I think that's important for recognizing places is using the car blur, of course. And in NMPZ, the car blur can be very useful. This is not the roof rack car blur. The roof rack car blur sticks out more than this. Yeah, this is just a big blur, like pickup car blur, pickup truck blur. All right, next one, hunting signs. Useful. You can just get the country off this. Red is Portugal. Black is Spain. Yeah. So if you think you're in the US, you'll often be looking at the trees, and in the southern states you get what are called in the community southern pines, but to me these look like southern pines, but they're actually in Portugal. You do get them across Europe as well. They're probably not the same species, just to me they look similar. So yeah, don't always be going America on these kind of trees. Next one, Puerto Rico. I saw this like octagonal pole, which is a Mex thing usually, and this car has a black wind mirror here, and then yeah, those banana palms and white lines on the outside of the road. Yeah, just an interesting mix, I think. Could be helpful to get Puerto Rico. I know people mess up Colombia and Mexico because of the octagonal poles, which you also find in the Philippines as well. All right, next one. This is the thing I was talking about with Serbia. Yeah, other than North Macedonia, it actually says it here. All of Central and Eastern Europe has antenna coverage. Serbia has no antenna, mostly. All right, cars again. I couldn't work out if this was small cam or not. Small cam, the newest generation camera that Google have been driving around. I guess it's more cheaper. It's cheaper and efficient. More efficient. It has a certain kind of blur, the small cam blur. It kind of looks like a skull. You've got a wider bit at the top and a narrower bit at the bottom. Once you see it, you'll know it. Just type in a small cam map or whatever and look at the blur. I was trying to work out if this was small cam or not. 2025 makes sense because that's pretty recent and small cam is becoming a big part of the game. Here is some discussion about small cam. It may be outdated, But let's take a look. This is talking about what it looks like. Yeah. Same camera quality as Gen 4. So really good quality. They say, this person here says, Europe has lots of small cam in different countries. Brazil, yes. South Africa, Canada, just Ontario and Quebec for now. USA does. Puerto Rico, yes. India, Hawaii, Alaska, Cyprus, Turkey. And I'll add to that as well. There are a few more, I believe. And maybe even more since this gets posted, keeps updating. The blur is very big. It looks like a skull. Yeah. Feel free to pause on any of these to read. All right, next one. So I've seen it in Greece, Bosnia, Spain, Argentina, and maybe Finland too. So there are lots of small cam countries. I feel like India in Asia is a big one though, because you're not finding it anywhere else for now. So I don't think I'm learning this yet or ever. But here are the provincial roads in Spain that you get on the signs. Yeah, Spain's road system is super complicated. But yeah, it is learnable. It's a lot to learn. Okay, this is something I put together very recently, just side by side. So, generation 1 and 2 in Spain, Italy, and Greece. So that's Spain on the left, Italy in the middle, and Greece on the right. So I think I've associated generation 1 or 2 a lot with Italy, and it makes sense why. It's 13% plus almost 4% added together. So yeah, 17%. And it's less so in Spain and Greece, but it still exists. So yeah, in Spain it's about 6%. In Greece it's about 10% of the time that you'll see generation 1 and generation 2. If it's there. Regional languages of Spain: Catalan, Basque, and Galician. Is it Galician or Galician? Again, I don't know anything about languages. Not enough. Definitely my weak point. But yeah, good to know. Potentially for signs. Next one. Okay, this is my favorite type of palm tree. Palmyra palm. Found in Cambodia, Brazil, and Sri Lanka. This is a distribution map of the palms in Sri Lanka. Looks like this. Yeah, I don't know. It just looks so cool to me. I love it. Okay. I was watching Harrier recently, the GeoGuessr Pro, and he talked about the Generation 3 camera footage and its blur in Asia. So in Asia, a single triangular blur is apparently found in Sri Lanka, Cambodia, Vietnam, and I think I saw in Indo too, but maybe that was like 2 triangles. That is a way to distinguish the US and Canada. If it has 1 triangle, it's the US, and with 2 triangles, it's Canada. In generation 3, with the blur. All right, next one. This is just a case of a meta looking a little different, but still being the meta. This is a Stobie pole, which you find in South Australia, but they can occasionally be found on the island of Tasmania. So yeah, that's what we're looking at here. Next one. Thailand can have yellow plates on commercial vehicles. Sometimes I see yellow plates in countries that don't usually have yellow plates, and I'm thinking, what's going on there? But it's usually a commercial vehicle thing. So you see it in Peru, you see it in Thailand here, and then some countries just have yellow plates in general, like the UK on the back, and then Laos has yellow plates too. Yeah. Can be hard to tell sometimes. Are you looking at a bunch of taxis and that's why they have a certain color plate, you know? Maybe a yellow plate? Or are you not, you know? Commercial versus passenger vehicles. All right, next one, just a standout, quite distinct round I had. It's Thailand. Super red soil. People see red soil and insta-click Brazil, but yeah, this super dark red soil is something I found in Thailand. Next one, I think I got this from Harrier too, that an exposed brake light is a Chiang Rai thing in northern Thailand. Will I remember this? I don't know. It's quite specific and advanced. But yeah, it's exposed there. It's a small thing to look out for. Next one. You can get a little bit of red on Tunisian plates. Don't know if I noticed that. Of course you get it on the follow car, but other vehicles too. Next one. Turkey also has white double lines. Sometimes. This is a very Turkish road though, so that should give you an indication. Yeah, I think I may have gone Greece on this because of some wooden poles here. But yeah. Next one, Turkish pole. Don't know how frequent these are, but yeah, I just save stuff that sticks out to me. And this was in Turkey, or Turkey. I feel like this is a fairly basic meta that people know, but I only really learnt it recently. You can get tiled roofs, mainly in the west of Turkey. Yeah. Pretty good. Halves the country. Next one, Turkish poles with these kind of insulators that have dots on them. What does it remind me of? A Goa pole in India, potentially. But yeah, that's what they look like. And Ukraine is a country I usually associate with a red car, long antenna, but other cars exist with long antennas and with a short antenna. They are rarer, definitely rarer, but they do exist. So yeah, Russia and Ukraine can be tough 50-50, even for pros. I feel sometimes you can get poor quality road in Russia, of course, when the meta is usually that Ukraine has those kind of roads, etc. And lastly, this is a little thing I made. It's not exhaustive as I wrote there, but yeah, just a few patterns I found. For example, Kenya will have a yellow line like this, and then in Rwanda it's dashed usually. So yeah, that's one way to 50-50. Mexico, Colo and Ecuador can have dashed lines. Mexico, Costa Rica, and Brazil can have double yellow lines. Yep. Over here, this is a good 50-50. Thailand, again, like over here, can have dashed, but it's usually a single yellow, and then really short dashed lines are in Vietnam. They're unusually short. Again, down here, this is just a typical, like, Dominican Republic suburb. No lines. And then here we have quite short dashed lines in Puerto Rico, and then like longer dashed lines in Guatemala. Yeah. So, yeah, not exhaustive. You get different lines everywhere sometimes. Don't just go off the lines. But yeah, these 50-50s are useful, I think. All right. Anyway, if you watched this far, thank you so much. I hope some of that was useful. It can be hard to explain this stuff. But yes, good luck with your guessing. Take it easy. See you in the next video. Bye-bye.